We like to think that human history is a straight line of progress, shaped by geniuses, heroes, and brilliant strategies. But the truth is far more embarrassing. Sometimes empires fall, space missions explode, and entire global wars begin because someone was bad at math, forgot to lock a door, or just stopped to eat a sandwich at the exact wrong moment. Today on Epic Fail History, we're looking at the ultimate butterfly effects, the absolute dumbest, tiniest mistakes that caused catastrophic historical disasters. Hit that subscribe button because you are about to feel a whole lot better about every mistake you've ever made. Chapter 1. The Sandwich That Started World War I. One missed assassination becomes the most consequential lunch break in history. Because this wasn't just a failed mission, this was a cosmic-level coincidence that killed 17 million people. June 28, 1914, Sarajevo, Bosnia. Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria is visiting. He's the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and he's a target. A group of young Serbian nationalists, the Black Hand, want him dead. They see Austria-Hungary as an oppressor. Killing the Archduke will strike a blow for Serbian independence. They have a plan. 6 assassins, positioned along the motorcade route. Bombs, guns, multiple chances to succeed. This should have been straightforward. 6 assassins, 1 target in an open car. What could go wrong? Everything. First assassin sees the car approaching, freezes, does nothing. Second assassin, Nedeljko Chabrinović, throws a bomb. It bounces off the Archduke's car, explodes under the vehicle behind it, injures several officers, but Ferdinand is fine. Chabrinović jumps into a river to escape. The river is only a few inches deep. He's immediately captured. The other assassins panic. The mission is blown. Security is now on high alert. One of them, 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip, gives up, walks away. He's hungry, frustrated. His big moment of historical significance just failed spectacularly. So he goes to Moritz Schiller's cafe, orders a sandwich. Meanwhile, Franz Ferdinand continues his visit, goes to City Hall, receives officials, decides to visit the officers injured by the bomb at the hospital. His driver, Leopold Loika, is given new instructions. Take a different route, avoid the crowded main street. But nobody tells Leopold the exact route. Communication fails. Remember this detail. It's important. The motorcade leaves City Hall. Leopold turns onto Franz Josef Street, the original route. Ferdinand's security chief shouts, "Wrong way! We're supposed to go straight!" Leopold realizes his mistake, stops the car, tries to reverse. The car stalls, right in front of Moritz Schiller's cafe. Gavrilo Princip is sitting outside, eating his sandwich. He looks up. The Archduke's car stopped, 5 feet away. Imagine this moment. You've given up. Your mission failed. You're having lunch, and suddenly your target appears right in front of you, like the universe is giving you a second chance. Princip stands up, walks over, pulls out his pistol, fires 2 shots. One hits Franz Ferdinand in the neck. The other hits his wife Sophie in the abdomen. Both die within minutes. And that's where the butterfly effect begins. Austria-Hungary blames Serbia, issues an ultimatum. Serbia refuses some terms. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. Russia mobilizes to defend Serbia. Germany declares war on Russia. France enters on Russia's side. Germany invades Belgium to attack France. Britain enters because of Belgium. Within weeks, all of Europe is at war. World War I. 4 years, 17 million dead, 21 million wounded. 4 empires collapse: Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, German. The map of Europe is redrawn. The Middle East is partitioned. New countries are created. The Treaty of Versailles humiliates Germany, setting up conditions for World War II. All because an assassin failed and went to buy a sandwich, a driver took a wrong turn, a car stalled at the exact wrong place. Imagine altering the course of the 20th century because your driver refused to ask for directions. But at least that was human error in a chaotic situation. The next disaster was pure stupidity with months to prevent it. Chapter 2: The $327 million Math Error. NASA sent a spacecraft to Mars. It burned up in the atmosphere because two teams couldn't agree on how to measure things. This wasn't a complex engineering failure. This was elementary school math, and it cost $327 million. 1998, NASA launches the Mars Climate Orbiter. Mission: study Martian climate, atmosphere, and surface. Revolutionary science, cutting-edge technology. The spacecraft travels for 9 months, 416 million miles through space. Everything is going perfectly, until it reaches Mars. September 23, 1999, the orbiter begins its approach. It's supposed to enter orbit at an altitude of 140 to 150 kilometers above the Martian surface. Instead, it enters at 57 kilometers. That's too low, way too low. At that altitude, Mars's atmosphere is thick enough to create friction. The spacecraft burns up, disintegrates, gone forever. $327 million, 9 years of work, a massive scientific mission, destroyed in seconds. NASA investigates. What went wrong? They discover the problem almost immediately. It's not a complex systems failure, not a freak accident, not unforeseen circumstances. It's a unit conversion error. One team, Lockheed Martin, building the spacecraft, used imperial units, pounds of force, feet, inches. The other team, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, doing the navigation, used metric units, newtons, meters, centimeters. Nobody caught the discrepancy. For 9 months, the navigation software received thrust data in pound-force seconds. It interpreted that data as Newton seconds. 1 pound force equals 4.45 newtons, so every calculation was off by a factor of 4.45. This is 4th grade math, converting units, something you learn in elementary school. NASA, the organization that put humans on the moon, couldn't figure out metric versus imperial. The worst part? There were warning signs. During the flight, engineers noticed the trajectory seemed slightly off, but they attributed it to solar wind and other factors. Nobody thought to check if both teams were using the same measurement system. After the disaster, NASA implemented new procedures. Mandatory unit consistency checks, required metric only for all new missions, multiple verification stages. All things they should have been doing already. But the damage was done. $327 million burned up in the Martian atmosphere. And NASA became the punchline of jokes about failing to convert units. The Mars Climate Orbiter joined an elite club, catastrophically expensive failures caused by someone not paying attention in math class. But at least that was modern incompetence. The next disaster ended a 1,000-year empire because someone forgot basic security. Chapter 3: The Unlocked Gate That Destroyed Byzantium. The Byzantine Empire survived for over 1,000 years. It fell in a single night because someone forgot to lock a door. This wasn't a military defeat. This was the most embarrassing security failure in history. 1453, Constantinople, capital of the Byzantine Empire. For over 1,000 years, Constantinople has been called the Queen of Cities, impregnable, protected by the Theodosian walls, the most formidable defensive fortifications ever built. The walls are 20 feet thick, 40 feet high, with a moat and multiple layers of defense. Dozens of sieges over centuries, all failed. If you wanted to conquer Constantinople, you needed to be prepared for a long, brutal siege, starvation, disease, massive casualties. Or you could just find an unlocked door. May 1453. Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire besieges Constantinople. He has 80,000 troops, massive cannons, naval support. The Byzantines have about 7,000 defenders, but they have those walls. The siege drags on for weeks. Ottoman cannons pound the fortifications, make some cracks, but the walls hold. May 29th, the Ottomans launch a massive final assault. Wave after wave of soldiers, attacking multiple points, testing the defenses. The defenders are exhausted but holding, and then an Ottoman unit finds something unexpected. A small gate called the Kerko Porta in a less defended section of wall. It's supposed to be locked, barred, secured. It's wide open. Nobody knows exactly why. Theories include someone forgot to lock it after a sortie, defenders abandoned it during the chaos, or a traitor deliberately left it open. Whatever the reason, it's unlocked. A small group of Ottoman soldiers, maybe 50, slip through. They make their way to the inner walls, raise the Ottoman flag. Byzantine defenders see the flag, panic. The city is breached. The Ottomans are inside. It's not true, not really. Only a handful of Ottomans had entered. The main walls still hold. But panic is contagious. Defenders abandon their posts, run, create gaps in the defense. The Ottomans outside see the confusion, press harder, find the weakened sections, pour through. Within hours, Constantinople falls. The Byzantine Empire, successor to Rome, guardian of classical civilization for a millennium, ends because someone forgot to lock a door. One unlocked gate, one moment of carelessness, and 1,000 years of history ends in a single night. The fall of Constantinople had massive consequences. The Ottoman Empire controls the Eastern Mediterranean for centuries. Trade routes to Asia are cut off, spurring European exploration, leading to Columbus, the discovery of the Americas. Greek scholars flee to Italy, bringing ancient texts, helping spark the Renaissance, all traceable to one unlocked gate. But forgotten locks are at least understandable in the chaos of war. The next failure happened during a carefully planned operation with months of preparation. Chapter 4: The Time Zone That Almost Started Nuclear War. The CIA planned an invasion, trained soldiers, organized air support, and forgot to check what time it was. This mistake didn't just fail, it nearly triggered World War III. 1961, Cold War, Cuba. Fidel Castro has taken power, aligned with the Soviet Union. America is not happy. The CIA decides to fix this. Plan: invade Cuba with Cuban exiles, overthrow Castro, install a friendly government. They recruit 1,400 Cuban exiles, train them in Guatemala, prepare B-26 bombers for air support. The invasion site, the Bay of Pigs, remote beach on Cuba's southern coast. Everything is planned, detailed. What could go wrong? Spoiler: everything. April 17, 1961. The invasion begins. Brigade 2506, the Cuban exiles, land at the Bay of Pigs. Immediately, things go wrong. Coral reefs damage boats. Surprise is lost. Cuban forces mobilize quickly. The exiles need air support, fast. The B-26 bombers are ready, based in Nicaragua, disguised to look like Cuban Air Force defectors. But there's a problem. The planners scheduled the airstrikes based on Cuban time. The bombers were based in Nicaragua. Nobody accounted for the time zone difference. Cuba and Nicaragua are in different time zones, 1 hour apart. The air support arrives 1 hour late. By the time the bombers reach the Bay of Pigs, Castro's forces have already mobilized. Cuban fighter jets are airborne. Anti-aircraft guns are ready. The B-26s are slow, outdated, easy targets. Several are shot down immediately. The rest retreat. The exile brigade is on its own. No air support, outnumbered, surrounded. Within 3 days, it's over. 114 killed, 1,189 captured. Complete disaster. The political fallout is catastrophic. Kennedy is humiliated. Castro is emboldened. The Soviets see American weakness. 1 year later, Cuban Missile Crisis. Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba. America and USSR on the brink of nuclear war. The world came within hours of nuclear annihilation because someone forgot to check what time zone they were in. The Bay of Pigs had multiple failures: poor intelligence, bad planning, unrealistic assumptions. But the air support timing was the most preventable, the most embarrassing. This was the CIA, America's top intelligence agency, with months to plan, and nobody looked at a clock. 4 disasters, 4 tiny mistakes, millions dead, empires fallen, nearly nuclear war, all preventable. These weren't complex failures. These were basic mistakes anyone could make, which is exactly what makes them terrifying. What do these disasters have in common? First, they were preventable, completely, easily. Lock the gate, check the units, verify the time zone, take a different route. Simple actions that nobody did. Second, they had massive consequences disproportionate to the mistake. Forgot to lock a door? 1,000-year empire falls. Math error? $327 million gone. Wrong turn? World war. Wrong time zone? Almost nuclear war. Third, warning signs were ignored. Engineers noticed the Mars orbiter's trajectory was off, didn't investigate. Byzantine defenders knew the Querqueporta was vulnerable, didn't prioritize it. Ferdinand's security was warned about assassination threats, continued the visit anyway. Fourth, responsibility was diffused. Nobody thought it was their job to check units, lock gates, verify time zones. Everyone assumed someone else had it covered. The lesson isn't, don't make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. That's human. The lesson is, small mistakes matter. Details matter. Communication matters. Because sometimes the fate of millions depends on someone remembering to lock a door. So that's how tiny mistakes caused massive disasters. A sandwich break that started World War I, a unit conversion error that lost a spacecraft, an unlocked gate that ended an empire, a time zone mistake that nearly started nuclear war. History isn't always shaped by brilliant strategies or grand visions. Sometimes it's shaped by someone forgetting to do their job, taking a wrong turn, not double-checking their math. The difference between normal day and catastrophic disaster can be a single unlocked door. So the next time you send an email with a typo or take a wrong turn on your drive home, just take a deep breath. At least you didn't accidentally end a 1,000-year empire because you forgot to lock a door, or crash a $327 million spacecraft because you couldn't figure out metric versus imperial. History isn't always shaped by destiny. Sometimes it's shaped by sheer stupidity. If this blew your mind, smash that subscribe button. Drop a comment. Which of these mistakes do you think was the absolute dumbest? See you next time, where hopefully we discuss people who actually checked their work before changing history.